with us is Scott Bates as well. He's off printing something off for me. And we have a really good show. We did miss you on Friday. We love doing them live. But then when we have to do an encore, I hope you enjoy it too. And what else was there? Last week it was more or less, I was supposed to take a break from doing radio shows because I have got all of my dissertation complete and I got it done on Friday. I had made sure everything was down to the last detail, sent it out on Sunday, and I just got a confirmation letter probably about 4 hours ago that says that it's been confirmed and it can allow 6 to 8 weeks, and
it's been received.
It's been received, yes.
That's
and
awesome,
so I'm
awesome.
very excited about that. And somehow I just broke our table. That's really wobbly all of a sudden. So some of you were looking in the camera and go, oh my God, what's happened? So anyways, what I wanted to start off with tonight is I couldn't print it off. So now I have to wait for all the logistics behind the scenes to hopefully get things done. So how have you been, Jen?
Awesome.
So you just had a four-handed job done.
Okay. Also known as a massage.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought I liked the way I put it better.
Yes. It was kind of exciting to...
I bet it was.
I've never had a four-handed massage. So that was a new experience.
Two people, each have two hands.
Yes, correct.
So did they both start on each end and work in the middle, or how did they do it? One side, left side, right side, what?
Both sides at the same time.
Oh, so you weren't sure where you should put your sensation, huh?
Yeah.
My focus needs to go where?
Exactly. And then it ended, I forgot that I signed up for a detox foot bath.
Those are incredible.
So that was a pleasant surprise that after the massage, then I could just let all the toxins and stuff that had been stored in the body go out through my feet into the foot bath, and so that was a nice, I had to sit still for 25 minutes, bless you.
Thank you.
And so I did, that was the hardest part, was sitting still for 25 minutes with the foot bath. So what do I do, what do I do, what do I do?
She didn't take no iPad or book.
Nothing, and so just sitting there and contemplating, and so we've been in the process of doing some major releasing with all the stuff that's going on the planet and all the energy that's coming on. There's been some stuff in my life that I needed to release, and we've been talking about how to do a healing tool of releasing.
Yes.
So that's new to the repertoire of Medicine Women Review.
Yes, and we haven't made a a video yet, but we will soon. And I'm just trying to figure out what it is that what my husband just recorded or printed off. That's funny. So as far as when you get a massage, why is it important? It's not just so that you can feel good and relaxed, and what it does is it takes and cleans out the lymphatic system. The lymphatic system is that when you exercise and move, it doesn't have a pump, so you have to work at it. And then a lot of times you are emotionally wrecked, stressed, and the toxins build up in the body. Well, there's no releasement for it. So this is where you get the aches and pains, and where the environment of the body,
or inflamed joints and stuff like that.
Well, see, people assume that, oh, I'm just not eating right, and I have the acid is now in place. My alkaline went down because I'm not eating right. Well, majority of it is because of your thinking. It is the stress patterns. It is how you create your daily life. And the spinal cord, which I can't remember if we put up the spinal flush or I haven't got to edit it yet and put it up. And it is literally when two people are fighting or when you've had a bad day, all the chemical peptides start to get built up inside the spine. And so when you are actually helping somebody, you can actually push on both sides of the spine and literally help to release it. Up and down the spine a couple times will actually help put you in a better mood because you're flushing it out. The tailbone does a lot of flushing, and when people's tailbones are out of alignment, Hannah Kruger, I had learned from this woman, and was that when she was in Germany, there was a doctor that would correct leukemia. He would help. He'd have a leukemia toxin, or he would have a glass full of tonic that was all kinds of vegetables and stuff that each person that had leukemia would drink. He would reset their tailbones and make sure their tailbones stayed set. And because the tailbone, by not being set, somehow contributed to the factor of having leukemia. So he would have two things. He'd fix your tailbone, and he would give you a tonic to drink for so many weeks, and then after that your leukemia would be gone. His success rate was incredible. But Hannah Kruger, when they left there before the war, wrote all this down, and so she then carried it on to give it to people that she knew, because she helped take care of people when she came to America. So it was very interesting how this woman has passed it on. So when I read all about all these things, the different ways of helping the spinal cleanse itself, it's so important. If your tailbone's out, go get it fixed. You know, if your tailbone's out, it doesn't mean you got leukemia. It just means that the combination of also having a bad home life, or your parents are breaking up, or something is falling apart, you really need to be able to function and feel like there's security and safety. And when the spinal stuff gets all clogged up, you have aches and pains, your environment goes off center, you feel more acidic inside. And even if you started taking certain vitamins and minerals, you probably wouldn't get your balance back, because your body has now become habitually trained to keep the toxins in.
It's gone from acute to chronic.
Yes, and that's why if you don't exercise and move, then you need to go and get a massage. And they say, well, if you have really good vigorous sex, that helps the lymphatic system to move too, because that's a good pump. And just thought I'd say that. So it's important to understand that the spine, if your two partners are fighting and they're fighting a lot, what will happen is that you really actually need to just start doing a spinal flush on the both of you. And what will happen is that it actually will clean out some of the toxins that have built up, and it helps bring the blood back up to the forebrain to the point where you're like, oh, I don't have to be mad at you as much. How's that? But there are healing tools that can help you when you are fighting.
And I was really excited at
About
the
the
end
color.
about the color of the foot bath. Oh, I'm getting a nice detox foot bath, and by the time I was done, after 25 minutes or a half an hour, it was just this dark rust brown sludge-looking tub, and I was so excited to see that. And most people wouldn't be, but I was, because I knew that a whole bunch of stuff had come out, and that was a really good thing. And so she was. The person said, oh, off the top of my head, it's looking like a lot of gallbladder and liver. And I knew that. I said, oh, well, that's the resentment and the anger that I've been emotionally processing through all the other healing tools that we've been doing. But it finally had a way to come out of the body, and so that was awesome.
That's good. We have foot pads and other things that can help. And
I love the foot pads.
Most of the tools out there that you pay a couple $100 for to do a foot bath at home, somehow it's either not as strong as the ones that are professionally made, or the color is different. I don't know either way, but I do know the foot pads do help. And when you first put them on, you're like, what's this dry pad on the bottom of my foot going to do anyway? Well, when you wake up in the morning and it's all this goo under your foot, you're going, oh my God,
that came
gross.
out of my body. Ah! I love the foot pads, so let us know if you need some foot pads.
Yeah, we got them for sale here. Okay, so what else have we been doing? Like I said, this whole new thing for me with my dissertation being done, I have gone into the next step, which means my energy has been released off the dissertation. My focus and my attention is now in another direction. And what's opened up, without me knowing it while I was doing my dissertation, I was creating the classes to be online. Little by little, I just start cutting and pasting. And now I looked at it, I'm like, how do I get 20 pages on here? Wow. So you can actually build and create without you even knowing it. And so now I have a telesummit that's coming up. My part is in December. You can listen and tune in, and all you have to do is sign up and then just find out what day and who you want to listen to, and you can listen to any of the speakers. There's replays as well. And then we were also asked to offer something at the end of it. So if a person wants to learn more about who you are, what kind of great price can you have? Now, we do have
somebody's calling.
Somebody's calling, so let's find out who this is.
Okay, we will see.
Hopefully she's got the volume on.
Hello, this is Medicine Women Reveal.
Hi, Brenda. It's Brenda.
Oh, hi, Brenda. Speaking of the telesummit.
I just went on Facebook and saw the live healings and thought I'd take advantage.
Oh, this absolutely is wonderful.
Okay.
Okay, so Jen, you want to turn up the mic a bit. Okay. And what we normally do on our radio shows is that we just take in, somebody can call in, and we listen to them, or they can just ask a question. So you can have a general reading, or if you have a specific question, then let us know. But before we do that, This is the lovely lady that has set up the telesummit, and she can give you. Can you give us a little a rundown about what it is?
Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yes. The Healthy Wealthy Evolution is my gift to the world in celebration of the fact that there are so many amazing people and healers out there in the world who have a voice and need a platform to get their message out. And so I am so looking forward to having you, Brenda, on my show.
I'm excited.
Pretty soon, coming up in December.
Yes.
And we've been having a blast getting that all organized. And so anyway, it just feels like really good, like a real sisterhood, meeting with you and having you a part of my series. And now I get to experience your work.
Oh, good. And I'm so excited. I'm so glad you called in. So again, would you like a simple reading, a general reading, or would you like to, do you have something on your mind?
Well,
Did we lose you?
Oh.
Oh, I think it.
Hold on, she'll give us a call back. I know
Okay.
she will.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's so cute. Her name's Brenda too. Lovely name. Not just saying. So, but anyways, the telesummit. My part is December. I think it's 7th. I have to get the exact time. 6th or 7th, and then it'll be around 7 p.m. and we may go for an hour or 2 hours of doing what I do here. But we're going to tell you my story. We're going to tell you my background, and we're going to tell you these wonderful offers after you communicate with, or you don't even have to communicate with. You listen to the speaker, and if you have questions or the package deal, we have to come up with one heck of a deal for a really low price, and that's exactly what we've done. So hopefully she can call back in a few minutes. And is everything going in the chat room all right too? I see some really weird stuff going on in there.
What
Yeah, I don't know what's going on over there.
No, it's Irene.
But Octarine was saying that what the day you were doing is Pearl Harbor Day?
Is it?
What day?
December 7th.
December 7th.
I'll have to ask Brenda what day I'm actually on. Pearl Harbor Day. Now that's
Is it,
interesting.
you know what day of the week it is? Here she is.
Oh,
Okay.
we'll find out in just a
We'll
second.
answer. Hello again.
hi. Talk about the cosmic energies at force here.
Yes.
Well, it's also Skype.
Yeah. Well, so we have one question for you. So what day am I on? Do you remember offhand? Do you have a schedule in front of you and what time it is?
Oh,
I should know
I
these
need the
things.
calendar in front of me.
See, that's too.
You got me off guard, Brenda.
I think it's on
yes,
Tuesday.
well, I can tell you, as I'm searching for my calendar of life, yes, the website is www.healthywealthyevolution.com, and Brenda Bates is going to be with me on, let's see, December the 6th at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Awesome. I love that idea. So right now we're going to go for about an hour, and then we could go longer if y'all call in and wanted some readings and such.
Well, let's celebrate and help you go longer because we really want to give you a good workout.
Hey, I have no problem with that. So what I like about it is an opportunity. I will tell you that I got my dissertation sent in. Now I just have to wait 6 to 8 weeks to find out my certificate and all this. So I was hoping to get it done so that you could put on your website, Dr. Brenda Bates, but that's okay.
Absolutely. Well, you know what? We have the intention there that all will move forward as is planned, and the doctor will be there as soon as available. But, yeah, in my mind, you're Dr. Brenda Bates already.
Thank you. Yeah, I have a lot of people that address me that, and I'm like, what makes you think that? But I'm already emanating it. That's good. So again, thank you for letting me put you on the spot. So you did so well. Tell me, what would you like us to do?
You know what? I'm open. Why
Okay,
don't you
good.
do whatever it is you want to do?
Okay, good. So one of my specialties is listening to the soul, and what we do is we find out what layer the soul wants you to know and to experience. Now, what's funny is my little piece of paper is kind of walked away.
So they just said kidney.
Oh, apparently you're supposed to go first.
Okay, so okay. So what they're and this is Jen, by the
Hi,
way.
Jen.
Hi. And so what they're saying is that you need to go on a vision quest. And now the way that I do vision quest, I don't do a traditional vision quest of going off to sit in nature. I look at what's happening around me in the modern world in which we live. So pay attention to what's going on, because something needs to come to completion. And they threw out the word kidney, and normally they don't do that, but they said something in the kidney needs to come to completion in order for you to, something needs to emerge so that you can move forward more effortlessly. But there's something in the kidney that needs to be unlocked.
What's funny is that it goes right to flee mode, and so then my question is, okay, so what is this? What is this particular thing that needs to emerge, and what is it that needs to come to completion? And it's funny because kidney is about that contemplation stage.
Okay.
So now I'm going to find out. Withholding your power. You are full of light, and you've been withholding it because you have the daily grind, the daily living. And
Yep.
one of the things we talk about in the beginning of the show was releasement, and it's so huge that even though you are doing something, you need to release it. So I know that you're supposed to move into bigger, better things that are going to, get you money, and so that you can stay in life. And by this, the job that you're doing, yes, you can do it. You know how to do it, forwards, backwards, inside out. But your soul has been sparking you, which is why you started doing the Healthy, Wealthy Evolution and doing all of those other things. But you haven't released your obligations and your duties.
Right.
It doesn't mean that you have to quit. It just means I release this. And it's like letting, if you had a rope in your hand, feeling the rope leave. And you literally can say what color and number it is, and you say, yes, these obligations add up to this. But watching it leave, creating a resolution to actually feel like you're releasing it, and then let the universe take that energy that you had there and put it in the direction you need. Then let the universe take care of the situation so that it can weed it out or transform it in whatever form it needs to. So as far as releasing it, that is the main thing that you need to do. Now running, that they say that your body is in a run mode. You're trying to run away from stuff you don't need to do anymore. So that's the, how do I want to put it? It's the towards and away from. You're going towards your goal, but you're running away from it at the same time. At the same time, you're running away from what you don't want, but you have to go to it because you're forced to have to do it to live. So we can see this. Now I'm going to look at her stuff, and we're talking about a vision quest, effortless. Effortless will be who you are. So what does she need to release completely? It goes back to flee mode. Give me more information. And they're saying, you are a woman of honor. You honor, you care for, and you do what is just. Now, the reason you got that way is somebody dishonored you. And because of that, they're saying that's actually causing you to stand strong and learn to overcome, but the foundation of you is not coming with you because you don't want it to ever happen again. And so your body is doing a flee mode, which causes the attraction factor. Your inner world creates your outer world. The attraction factor is literally saying to you, oh, hell no, we're not doing this again. You can go achieve, do all you need, but we're not going to put ourselves in that vulnerable state where people are going to dishonor us again. So do you recognize about being dishonored?
Yes, I do, definitely.
Okay, the familiarity is what you have to look at. Now, if you put it on a scale from 0 to 10, 10 being, oh my God, what number would it be?
Oh my God.
All right, we know it's a 10 plus. What we're going to do, Brenda, is we're going to have you put on hold just for a few minutes, okay, while we go to commercial break, and then we'll come back after this and do some more reading, all right?
Excellent.
Thank you, dear. So we're back after this. All right, Brenda, are you there?
I am.
Wonderful. Okay, so you got a couple minutes to think about what we said. And so you understand the familiarity. It's how you know it. And the thing is that you can have great memories, you can have bad memories, but it doesn't have to become your identity.
Right.
So the familiarity is how much life force you attach to this particular thing that occurred to you, and it's your soul is asking you to resolve it. And every time it comes back up into your face, it's your soul saying, can you resolve it now? Can you resolve it now? Because we have never been taught how to really recognize and listen to the soul's language, we just assume it's another day in life that is trying to beat us down, or how everybody feels about it. So your soul wants you to resolve how you know what it feels like to be dishonored. Now, They also said that alongside of that is embarrassment. Were you ever embarrassed that you had to, or something happened to you, so you're embarrassed, but then you had to learn to overcome to get your strength? Does that sound familiar?
Yes, it does.
Now they're saying that you have to look at how it's motivating you. The only way that you really can move out of something is if you fight. You have to have that motivation, embarrassment. So we're discovering part of your strategy as well. When you took your job so many years ago, did you go to school because you wanted to, or did you go to school because you had to go to school?
Pretty much had to.
Okay, so there was a fight in the motivation to get you to get going. Did you have to, were you ever embarrassed about the way of living, or that you couldn't do something, or was there any embarrassment tied to why you would have to go to school?
Not necessarily that, but during the course of, I'm a nurse, and I was the most unlikely person to be a nurse. I was
Really?
a passed out queen. So at one point they had said, the administrator had said basically, we'd like you to reconsider your career options, and I basically said, nope, I'm going to finish this right to the end.
Good for you.
So passing out during, a lot of procedures was just kind of an embarrassing thing to do.
Yes, yes.
So,
All right,
but
so
anyway, I got through it.
we can see where your fight is.
Yes.
And see, each one of those experiences are very important because they are fuel to why you have to be and have your life turn out the way it is. So when you do healing tools, you're actually looking at them and looking at the color and the number, notice the familiarity, and what will happen is that your brain, because with the healing tools I think they're going to choose, because we have several of them, is hope therapy. It is. Okay.
Okay.
With hope therapy, all you have to do is really think, and then just hold the positions that I tell you to do. And so as you're sitting there holding the positions, and you are the one that gets to figure out how you know it, how much pain it is, get to stare it down, and once and for all, you can actually have a battleground where you can win.
Okay.
Most people think about it anyway. They say they don't, but out of the 41 thoughts per minute, they do, because their soul keeps making it come back up again. The hope therapy. Now I got to find out exactly what spot. I would have to say that you would be holding R3D. R represents the right wrist. The number 3 represents the third position on your pulse point, and D represents how you're going to push your thumb in deep. Now your finger is going to go on the palm, and your right palm is going to go on your forehead and your hairline. We do have a website that has all the video and all the instructions there. Now once you have this position, you're going to be sitting there thinking all about the topics. And you're going to go to almost, chances are you probably go to any event, especially when you were a kid. And you'll start noticing how everything's kind of related and how it builds up to this point. But what you have to be real with is how you don't ever want this to ever happen again. So you push yourself until you check out. And they're saying is, you're up to the stuff where possibly somebody could dishonor you, but you're like, oh, but I don't want to go there again. I just can't do it. It's that extra oomph that you used to have when you were younger. Like if you passed out, you said, nope, I'm going to stand up, I'm going to finish this course. You're kind of tired.
Yeah.
Kind of like, oh my God, I could do it back then, but now, and that's okay, because that's what you're also going to focus on, is how you have to check out, because it affects the dream that you have, which is the healthy, wealthy evolution, and all the major events that you're going to have coming up. And what stops it is that you don't have to fight like you had to. You don't have the same force and motivation that you had when you were younger. And it's not that you want those back. They worked for you then. They definitely aren't working for you now. And now they have held you back to the point where you feel like you're moving, but you're not moving all the way.
Right, right.
Okay, so you will go through to, where's our website, Jen?
www.mwreveal.com. M as in medicine, W as in women, reveal.com. On the left side of our homepage, you'll see healing tools. If you scroll over that, you get a nice pop-up window and go to Hope Therapy.
Mm-hmm. And please listen to the archives, watch the videos. We record every one of our shows. And what I want you to do is just slowly listen to the familiarity and ones that really stand out. And it'll pop you up and say, oh my God, I remember this time. Write those down. Give it a color and number, because you're really looking at the foundation and all the layers that led up to where you are now.
And all those memories, sometimes going through the healing and that kind of thing, well, why am I thinking about that? That doesn't make any sense. They're all valid. They're all connected on some level as to why that memory is coming up, or you think about a certain age and that kind of thing when you're going through the hope therapy.
Okay.
Now, what the two cards that I got that came up was that you're going to be checking this out. You're going to be looking at it. You haven't got the spark to actually heal, and you're waiting for something. So are you a type of person that said if somebody called you chicken, then you would have the strength to be able to just do it then?
Mm-hmm.
So what magic word do I have that I can use on you to make you do it?
Oh, wow.
You know, so that's what because they're saying that there's a party that can't fill at home. You don't know how to be wide open, and you're not sure if you ever want to be vulnerable again.
Right.
And
It's a push-pull energy, isn't it?
yes, and we can stop this pattern. Again, they're telling me as long as you can go back to R3D, heal what we just talked about again, because it's so important to get this resolved. And when you feel like the color of the number is 0, and then you're happy, and the next thing you know, you see it again, all that's telling you is you got another layer that's popped up that you didn't get. Go back to R3D and just sit there and go through all the thoughts, the feelings, the memories, and you'll start to feel better. Again, when the blood starts coming back up to that frontal lobe, because frontal lobe is where we create all reality. And when we're stressed, 80% of the blood leaves our frontal lobe, so you can focus on one thing, and that is safety, to survive, to make yourself get out of the situation you're in so you can survive. Well, in this case, we want you to know that all those thoughts sit there, regardless, because you get 41 thoughts per minute, and you may only be able to pay attention to the few, because you got to pay your bills, and you got to do this, and then you have all the whispering opportunities that come up, and they say, hey Brenda, you need to address this. And you don't hear that. All you hear is, oh my God, here we go again. Oh. So when that occurs, it literally is helping you to retrain, to listen to your soul, because they want to give you whispering opportunities, instead of having to lead you down to where you have a bitch slap and then you're knocked over and you're told that you have to live and learn and expect to be hurt. Which pain and suffering is an option. That is what I've learned. Now, if you do heal all the things that they just said again, which is more layers, now we're going to draw a card and see what will happen is after she heals all these layers, what will happen. And Jen, go ahead and draw a card. What has she got? Then what happens is that you'll probably end up getting a burst of energy that will allow you to clean the house. Not your physical house, but your house inside. I don't need these thoughts. I don't need this type of people in my space. I can create healthy boundaries. You will start to let go of things that you thought you had to serve, and these rules and obligations will start to fall away to the point where you get to say no. Then you're going to be able to radiate, because Jen drew the card of radiation. You're going to finally be able to shine. But be consistent about your healing. Don't just let anything slide, because if the number comes down to where you think it's down to 0, stuff happens and you don't readdress it, it can rebuild back up into your space.
Okay.
So we're helping you to readdress the foundation. Now, you have any questions about this?
No, I'm on your website. I'm all geared up to kind of start the process as soon as we're done. And no, you nailed everything right on the head, Brenda.
Okay, good. So next time I see you, I hope that you have gotten progression so that we can actually start to see that radiation, or you radiate and shine even more. That would be great.
It will be awesome. And
Okay.
thank you both so very much.
All right.
Oh,
thank you for calling in, dear. And we'll talk to you later.
Take
Love you
care.
both. Bye.
Okay, bye. And I love that. I love when we can really hone in. And that reminds me of something. Now, I got to be delicate about this, because this information is about life a person had just gone through. And when you have something that hurts you, it's a fresh experience. It is right after it happened. You're in shock. The pain, the hurt, all of that is to the
It's
hilt.
it's like a wound that's
Bleeding.
It's bleeding and gaping, and it's fresh and fragile, and you need to address it and take care of it.
Yes, and usually when some people are in that state, now when Jen and I or any of us here are in that state, we know immediately that we have to do a cool down period. We call it a cool down instead of a mourning period, because the cool down is we know we have to go through these particular feelings, and we look at it and say, oh my God, I see how this is related to this, how that's related to this, and then once we've gotten to that point, then we can use our tools, right, Jen?
Yes.
Okay, then there is the part that is called the mourning period, where you can't help it. You know you're in the thick of all of your crap, you know that the lesson's happening, and you just have to go through it. Well, that's also where the fresh experience can't just be the shock of an instant, it's the strategy and the pattern that unfolds after that point. Okay? So what's really important is to know all these little differences, and this is what we're going to teach when I do my online training. But to address everyday life. So this person had just met and fell in love. The reciprocation was great. They were getting to meet up again and have more fun. And they were going to meet up on the weekend, and they had a designated time and a place, and the person didn't show. The other one is sitting there waiting patiently, still waiting patiently, not giving up, thinking, well, maybe there's something wrong. Finally, after a length of time, the other person calls, said, oh, I'm not coming. And kind of even played it off to the point of, oh, I'm so sorry I can't come, you know, I really look forward to coming and seeing you tonight, blah, 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 blah. And then, later comes, you're home, you're getting ready to communicate, thinking the person's going to talk to you, call you, and then you look on Facebook and they've blocked you. Wow, what a statement, wouldn't you think, Jen?
Yeah.
Okay? And this happens to people. The history is what I want you to look at. How we as humans do things. There is actually quite consistency. Now, a little bit further, this person said, we had no argument. In fact, the night before, they were cooing to each other. They were in a state where they were excited to the point where the one was to surprise. Took and laid down some money for a very expensive gift, not just for the person, but their child as well. And they were going to go and have this great Christmas surprise, you know. And you go when you go this far because you're that confident, thinking the relationship is good. Have you ever had that?
Yeah.
Yeah? Have you? Yeah. Now, there's no warning, correct? It's out of the blue. It comes out of nowhere. I've had several of those happen in my life. And it doesn't top dog, or this top, how do I want to put it? This is the topper. This is the worst of all, because you can go through so many things. This person had gone through so much battle of destruction, loss, stuff that has happened in their world that it should be, you know, hurt them. But when it comes to the matters of the heart, it hurts. You're in shock. You're in confusion. And as this person says, I have to deal with this because I don't understand why this person walked away. There was no explanation. What's important to understand is a part of us wants to have a closure. We're asking for the explanation. We want the closure. Most of us don't get it. Now, the closure that when you do get an explanation, it may not be good enough. Closure to us is when you use a healing tool and actually put that particular situation to rest. Let's go a little further. The pain and the shock need to be addressed because they are now fresh chemical peptides that are created, flood your body, flood your mind, and actually cause you to go into a state of, oh, I can't sleep, I can't eat, I hurt. The self-talk. What happens with the self-talk, Jen?
Oh my gosh, it can totally eat you alive.
And it doesn't shut up, does it?
No.
There's not even a break in a thought.
No, and then if you're roommates with a soul coach, hey, did you catch that thought? Hey, did you catch that?
Yeah, well, I can catch them. But you missed one.
You missed one here, you want to clean that up, thanks.
Yeah, because it's repeating itself and I don't like entertaining it anymore. So, this happens. This is life. people have, throughout history, have answered it the same way. We'll get into that. So, did we already take our break? Our second one?
We haven't taken our second
We're
break.
going to take our second break and we'll come back after this. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so again, we have an average life situation where boy meets girl, girl meets girl, boy meets boy, whatever circumstances it is. It's relationships that are on the heart level of finding love, being in love, and a chance to have love for the rest of your life. And then what happens is everything is going great, and then in the next minute, out of nowhere, it ends. During the break, my husband and I were talking about how somebody we knew, they would do that because they do not know how to end it. It is like when, let's say Jen asked me over for supper at her husband's house, but I can't stand her husband. Well, I don't want to let her know that, so I'll just say, oh yeah, thanks. And then don't show up. You know, I grew up with I was taught you have to have manners and consideration at all times and at all costs. But a lot of times people don't know how to say, I can't come over. And they'll say, why? Because I can't come over. Why? Well, because I don't like your husband, okay? But then that can turn into a fight. Or, I just can't come. There can never be, I just can't, because people are either pushing, just like when you had, somebody says, oh, you need to go to this event. And you're like, well, I can't. And then they kept pushing and pushing and pushing. We honestly can't say what we want because there can be aftermath of people fighting.
Right, sometimes, well, I just don't, my heart's not into it, I don't feel like I need to be there, I don't want to go, the weather,
So you have all the excuses.
But, well, though, you know, and those may be reasons why I don't want to go, but when somebody pushes, it's just, well, no, and then then you make up something like, oh, well, yeah, something happened with my roommate or something, I got it, you know.
Or you use your kids as your excuses. Now,
I can't do that, darn it.
Now, but when it comes to the matters of when you can't break it off with somebody, 1, you don't want to hurt them. 2, you don't want to feel the hurt. Number 3, you don't know what the reactions are because most of the time, if you have a background that you had to be afraid of people, the best thing to do is just to walk away, not tell.
Yep.
And I had gone through those 12 dating those guys, and when I was done with them, I told them, and there was only one person I couldn't tell because every time I tried, he didn't want to hear it. All right, fine. I just walked away. And what we want to know is this. Okay, so they've had worse pain in this, but my God, the shock and the pain and the hurt and the confusion has come up. And then I just got to figure out how to say this. So I do what I always do and push my hurt and my feelings back inside and carry on as if nothing had happened. I'm going to tell you that is the old way of how people used to heal. Okay? That's not the way we heal. That is dealing. That's not healing. Pushing it down is this oppression, which can pop up later as a form of disease. And if it doesn't show up in a physical form, it'll show up as that shit hit the fan and something's going to hit your face.
Right, I use the nice explanation of instead of check in the box, it's crap in the box, and you don't know where it's going to pop up and rear its ugly. You rear its ugly head if you're just pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing.
And that's where you consider it is a bitch slap, because the whispering opportunities are very simple.
And then you can blow friendships when you've shoved all this stuff down and somebody says 1 or 2 words and then all of a sudden something happens and all of a sudden, boom, you explode and you didn't even mean to do it with that person because it was happening over here, but it can splatter over all relationships.
That is huge. It happens all over.
Friendly fire, yeah.
Friendly fire, but it's also called venting, what I also call tanking. And when I have watched this happen to kids, the parents will go to work, do something, and stuff will happen at work, and you've learned to blow it off, you've learned to do what you need to do, but later on, without realizing it, you have to release it. You will end up taking it on you and your kids, because you can't take it on the person that you needed to. You couldn't. A lot of my stuff that I had to heal out was because my parents are dead. I couldn't go and touch them physically and talk to them to their face, which our healing tools don't tell you have to do that.
Right.
You don't have to call them up and then you ask forgiveness, and you don't have to do any of that. You're going to be healing on the inner world so that it creates a better outlook.
Forgiveness is, for you, a byproduct is that it can help that relationship,
right,
but it's ultimately for your health and well-being.
Yeah, so I think they need to express that. Because when you are asking forgiveness, that's different than saying I need to forgive. Well, everything that I've had to heal, like for instance, when the woman tried to steal my kids, I forgave her. I forgave the incident. I forgave the pain. Why? I didn't just say it. I wanted to heal and to forget. Not forget where it's like I have poor memory, but I didn't have a charge on the forgetting. So I chose to not to proceed. So I healed and I said, all right, I'm done with this. What color and number is the pain of how much I'm mad of how she tried to do this. Healed that away. Then all of a sudden I would see her and it's like I'd find out if there's a spark, if there's more layers to heal. But as far as forgetting, yeah, it happened, but there's no physical, emotional spark there that would cause me to not heal or to forgive on a complete level. I healed this woman completely out of our lives.
Right, to where you went to the store and she ended up beep, 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 beep.
She ran off. I was like, oh my God, that's cool, because I had no fear. I didn't have, oh my God, I got to interact with this woman. No, there was, oh, I know her. Just for a split second, I had to remember who she was. You want to heal because it's not that you have to take care of the circumstances right then and there, but it's how we've learned how to process. Shut up, behave, be good, sit in the corner. When we were first taught to pacify, we sucked our thumbs, we got a passy, or we ate. A lot of times the kid wants to just be held to help him pacify. There's all these different ways of processing that never really get done. And then as you start to get older and really matters of the heart occur, we're never taught to process the pain except for the old way, which is you think about it, or you work too hard, or you take on a substance abuse, you do something. And so we'll go a little bit further, okay? Now, the person that's receiving the pain has legitimately says, I really think it's unfair for someone to play with another's emotion like this and not even tell them why. Because it is coming out of the blue. You don't know why it's happening. You're thrown off your center. You need to make self-assuredness. You need to make it certain. You're looking for survival. You're looking for safety because that feels like it's been taken away from you. And you can finger point and say, they did it. But underlying what happened is inside the heart, inside you are all these memories and foundations that haven't been healed and processed, that they now come forward and they project out into your life. That all can be healed. That all can be resolved. Okay, but that's a very typical, normal thing about being human. Now this person goes on and says, as for me, it is not something I'm saying for the hell of it, because I've been hurt. My heart is now closed. Now I'm glad they know this. I'm glad that they said, I'm done. Now there's a difference between my heart is closed and I'm done. But when you had enough's enough, is a good clue that you're going to take the next step of wanting to resolve this. When you close down your heart, because the emotions are so strong, you have no tool to process all that pain. You have to mentally shut down. This is like when after the incident of the molestation at 7 years old, and I could not get my brain to shut off. I couldn't get the pictures, the imagery, and all of the bad stuff that had happened to me. That I closed it off by taking the memories and I threw them out into a field. It helped me, but when I got older, it came rushing back when the time came, it was time for me to address it. But some people don't get that lucky. But when you close down, imagine what it does to you physically. You're saying to that life force, instead of healing it, causing it to be balanced, you're ripping it out or you're closing it off. And if there's not a flow, there's going to be stagnation.
Yep.
There's going to be something in the physical body that's going to tell you so. We have a great big books that talk about physical pain, aches, diseases, all relating back to the thinking, the behavior, how you were treated, how you reacted. And all you have to do is, when you find the familiarity, is to go and heal this. Okay? Now, let's see. This person said, I have enough scars and I don't need any more. And this person says, well, I'm not putting it out there again. I refuse to. It's way too fragile. So this means that this person decides that they're not going to open their heart again. Now, people say that, and then later on they open their heart. My mother, I think she was 48 or somewhere in there. I couldn't exactly write. But she said she was done with men. She was done. Enough. Had it. Don't like this. Not going to be this. Have this again. And literally she died young because she closed off that part of you that is a natural process where you need to connect with people. My husband, and I was trying to explain to him before, and the other night he got it, was that he was standing before me and I walked up to him and I said, "Oh honey," and I put my hand on his face and his head. He said, "Oh my God, I like that." He says that, he could feel my touch. And then when I started to massage his muscle in his arm, he's like, "Oh, the sense of touch." Now this is a man that used to not like to be touched. Okay? And what we're saying is that it's the sense of touch. This goes back to a story. If you could look at her eyebrows in the video, that's cool.
Okay.
Two twins, okay, a set of twins they were born, and they separated them. They weren't connected, but they put them in different incubators because they were too young. And the other one started to die, and the other one seemed to be thriving okay. So the nurse, if I can remember the story right, grabbed the one baby that was thriving and put it in the one that was fragile, and the closeness, the bond, the touching started to repair the familiarity, help that child to not just die off and waste away, but to thrive and to move forward. So this is so important that you understand that it's the connection. And
It reminds me of the movie Life as a House.
oh, I love that movie.
Oh my gosh, it's a very powerful and a very intense movie where
A man was dying.
a man was diagnosed with cancer. He was divorced, and so his ex-wife was raising his son, and so he was kind of alone, even with the diagnosis. After the diagnosis, and this is only just at the beginning, but I remember this scene in the hospital where he reached out to the nurse and was craving that touch and held her hand, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh," like that was inappropriate, but he was just craving that touch, just not on a creepy
No, it's not
cool
creepy.
level. It was just, I'm a human being and I know I need to have that touch.
I was upset one day when she was standing there and she just reached over and gave me a hug. Without realizing it, that's what I needed. I needed that stability of another person's frequency. I was crushed, and she, even though she felt my crushedness, she was able to just say, "I've got your back, I'm here." It was enough to let me cry, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, I feel great again, because it gave me this boost that I'm looking for. And it's so important. Now, before we go any further, I think there was a question in the chat room.
There is. She needs to reboot, and if
Oh.
we could just chit chat for a
We
minute or
will.
so, we'll take a.
That's great.
And then we'll take our top of the hour break.
So again, what's important is that people need human touch. My mother ended up dying very young because she had cut herself off from wanting to not be touched from a man, but she actually kind of cut herself off from having hugs from anybody within the household. And she developed cancer. Not, that can play a part to why you have cancer, but not all of it. Okay? So now what will happen is that when you reach out and you're telling people, you are looking for familiarity of a friendship. And you don't want people to pity you, but what you want is that hug. And when you can't get one physically, this is why sometimes Facebook can be very helpful, because people pop up and say, "Oh God, I understand. I understand your familiarity." And they've come there to help you across miles away, just to lend a voice to say, "I'm there." And that is huge. It's very important. So this person said, "No, I've been there." And they're terrified about the person they're with. And they said, "Well, I honestly still am. And I'm learning to trust and love again." Now, this can be that rock pushing it up the hill. Because if the foundation is of that pain and suffering, and you're living high in the moment, you got that 3-month honeymoon period, even if you're not getting married, you still have that period where there's joy and peace, and it's a high. Afterwards, all of the ugliness comes out, because why? Because it's asking to be addressed. You're choosing that person that's the closest to you, which is what we call one ring out, to really be able to address your issue. By healing the pain, you will actually allow yourself to bring people that don't carry that pain. If I'm carrying pain and suffering, I'm only going to attract those in my life that's going to either increase my pain and suffering, or they have the same amount of pain and suffering, and I am going to somehow address and be in that same space where misery loves company. So you can actually learn to heal. You don't have to fight it. You don't have to wait for time to heal it. You don't have to overcome it in pep talks.
Oh, when you talk about that time healing it, I don't know what I was looking for, but I came across this website that said, you know, that they want to help you with heartbreak. You know, have you been in, you know, you just broke up. Okay, well, there was actually a calculator of,
Oh my
okay,
God.
well, how long was the relationship? Okay, you punch in how long the relationship was, and it spits back an answer of how many weeks or months based on how long the relationship was. That you, then it'll take that much time for you to get better.
And that was a normal way of doing things. We don't have to. We're the next generation. We are the new spiritual human. We can actually heal our hells instead of having to repeat creating more hell on earth. You can actually change that. You can actually resolve these things, and so your inner world can create a better outer world. We're going to take that break like we promised, and we'll be back after this.